Next item is public comment. Hearing none, we will move on. Approval of minutes, July 6th, open session.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? No. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? July 6th, executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next item we have on is joint meeting with the school committee to fill vacancy until the June 6th, 2017 election. Notice is hereby given that the Board of Selectmen shall be accepting applications and letters of interest from registered voters of the town of West Boylston serve on the West Boylston School Committee until the 2017 annual election. Applications or letters of interest will be accepted at our address to Board of Selectmen, 140 Worcester Street, West Boylston, Mass. Applications will be accepted until 6:30 p.m. on July 20th, and the Board of Selectmen and the school committee will meet at 7:15 to interview the candidates jointly. A candidate to fill the vacancy until the next election. Additional information can be received from the Board of Selectmen, and this was posted July 7th. And I guess we have 3 candidates that are interested in the seat, but we found out this afternoon that the school committee was not available with a quorum, so we have to reschedule the interviews. We are not rescheduling taking applications, we are only rescheduling for the 3 candidates that we currently have. And I believe we're going to tentatively go till 8/17.
Correct. One of the candidates that we'll be interviewing is not available at our next meeting, which is August 3rd. So to make sure that we can try to get all of the candidates at the same night, we're looking potentially at the August 17th meeting to do that. Nancy is working to find out if all of the candidates are available on the 17th, and then she'll work to make sure that we'd be able to have a quorum of the school committee that night as well. But I think we should aim for the August 17th meeting.
And I think at this point, we should make arrangements. If one can't be here the 17th, we've already, I believe they all cleared their night for tonight, because that's what the posting was. So I think if they can't all be here the 17th, we should just make it 2 nights. If 2 can be here the 17th, I don't think we should make the other one. I mean, this was the night, this was the posted night. I mean, I feel bad that we weren't here available tonight, so let's hope they can all be here, but if not, maybe we'll go over 2 weeks and we'll just have to have the school committee make arrangements
Very good.
with us. Does anybody have any questions or concerns with that? Okay. So the Municipal Light Board requests board support for Causeway Improvement Project. We're going to pass that, and you can.
Sure. The last week, John Hadley and I met with a member of the Municipal Light Board and their director, Jonathan Fitch. They had asked us if we could put the question to the board as to whether or not the board would support their moving ahead with the concept of asking both Verizon and Charter to relocate their wires, their lines, from the aerial lines to underground in an attempt to try to beautify the area along the causeway. The Municipal Light Board feels they have a one-time opportunity during the construction along the causeway to do the underground services, but it makes really no sense to go ahead and do that unless all 3 utilities, meaning electric, telephone, and cable TV, are all willing to do that. So the Municipal Light Board, through Jonathan Fitch, has been working to try to get in communication with Charter and with Verizon. They now have some preliminary cost estimates for what those 2 utilities would charge the light plant to do that. So it sounds as though the Municipal Light Board needs more time to get a firm handle on what those estimates would be and to determine if it's even feasible. So they've asked to postpone the discussion that they wanted to have tonight to another date to be determined.
Mr. Hadley, anything to add to that?
No, they were very, they said they would contribute quite a bit of money. I mean, of their labor and past to doing the underground, so it was a great opportunity for the town to go forward with it, but again, we have to wait for, I think it's more Verizon than Charter at this point, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I think that'll look, I think it'll be great, I mean, if we can do it. I mean, this is the opportunity, so, any other?
I just have a question. Do we think it's going to be within 6 months? I mean, do we have any idea now that the causeway is already, you know, ripped up and we're having all the other things done over there? Is it within that time frame, or
No,
are they?
likely what would happen would be that the municipal light department would put the conduit under the ground now.
Okay.
And then work through to negotiate with the other two utilities about having them relocate their lines from the current aerial to the underground conduit so it would be provided to them.
Okay, thank you.
So just to clear, so we would do that during the, and then we'll get them to do the, then we'll get
The electric company will do their lines, and they'll put conduits in for Verizon and for Charter, and if they can negotiate with Verizon and Charter to pull their line through, so it's all gonna cost them is labor, really, and some material for the lines.
Isn't a lot of the work putting the
All the work is putting the line in the ground.
the
Yeah,
piping?
pipe in the ground,
Yeah.
yes, that's where the cost is. And Mass Highway is good enough to join us in this venture to do it at the same time they're doing the road construction over there.
Does it cost for the Verizon and Charter?
Your cost?
Yes.
Yes, and they would be looking to pass that cost along to the municipal light plant.
So they are not paying it?
They would not pay anything. At least that was the understanding at this point, unless there's further negotiation with them to change that stance.
Okay. So we'll, maybe the next meeting, we don't know that.
Date to be determined.
Okay. Mr. Jackson here? He is. Okay, the introduction of Vernon Jackson, Director of Public Works.
Yes, I'm very pleased to introduce Vernon Butch Jackson to the board and to the town. Butch came to us with fantastic references from his prior employers, which included the town of Sturbridge, the Mass Transit Authority, and Lynch Construction Company. And I'm thrilled that he's now taken the job. He's here. He's already in his first few days on the job, and we're starting to see some good improvements. So I wanted to have a chance to introduce him to you tonight and have a chance for you to ask him any questions if you had any.
Ready? Does you have any questions besides? We've noticed all the changes already. Great job. I don't think, does anybody have any questions for him?
No, I mean, it's only been on, for, what, a week or so? 3 days. We have a lot of questions, but it wouldn't be fair to ask you them.
A couple weeks we'll ask you all the questions.
We'll have a list.
Yeah, we'll give you the break. But we're glad you're here. We've
Thank you.
waited a long time to have you, and welcome, and we look forward to having a good relationship and getting the town back into shape again.
Good. Seems like a nice little town.
It is.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, Chris Richard.
Thanks for being here.
I'm sure we'll get an update from the town administrator on your findings for the first few weeks of the month, maybe if what you think should be done or shouldn't be done, or changes and things like that. Okay, thanks very much. We're gonna have to wait on the next item because I don't see both candidates, the Finance Committee. So we can move on to new business. Review and approve and sign August 8th, 2000, I'm guessing, 16 special town meeting warrant. Alternate dates, August 10th and August 15th. So we have the one item.
It's just the one item. As you voted at your last meeting, you voted to keep this special town meeting warrant to just be the one article that deals with the tax increment financing agreement with the manufacturing company from Worcester.
Okay, so we'll need to vote to add Article 1 or just vote to add the...
Vote to approve the warrant as presented would be the best way to do it.
Make a motion to approve the warrant as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion on this?
Quick question, at this time, do we name the company or no?
Not yet. We were still waiting to get the green light from the company. They had not as yet notified their employees of this pending relocation, and they asked us just for the courtesy of time to do that before we formally announced the name of the company.
Which will be? When will be that?
We were hoping it would be in time for tonight's meeting, but it should be shortly.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So before town meeting, will we present more detail?
We absolutely will. Yes, we'll be starting to load a lot of good information about the company and about the proposed tax agreement, what it means, how it works. That will all be starting to be loaded on the website on Monday.
And then I believe someone from the finance committee has a
Yeah,
question.
just, can you share that with the finance committee at the earliest possibility to, just so we can vet it as well?
Absolutely.
It's
And-
summertime,
Yep.
it's just gonna be a tight schedule.
And to that point, I've actually proposed to the Board of Selectmen that we hold a special Selectmen's meeting on next Wednesday evening, the 27th of July, at 6 o'clock before the FISP meeting. So by then, we should have the tax agreement itself fleshed out enough to the point that the board can vote to approve the tax agreement. And we'd like to invite the assessors and the finance committee to that
So we
session.
should try to put the finance committee for that night.
Yes. As long as the board, confirms that that date will work for everyone. I know that at least one member is not able to attend, but as long as we can have a quorum of the board, I think it makes sense for us to move ahead and have that extra discussion on the 27th, so we're very short on time. This has been a very tight process right from the very beginning, and I just would like to know that we have that vote of the board to move ahead and authorize the TIP agreement, so that we'll have that step in place, and then town meeting will be the second step that we need.
I think it's important we have this meeting also, because I think we're gonna be able to announce their name by then, by the 27th. I'm
We absolutely should be able to.
they're pretty positive about that.
So right now, we have an agreement we have a document, they're just looking it over before.
There's a draft document in place. I've been working with John Hadley and Pat Crowley to negotiate this tax agreement with the company and with the owner of the property. That is in its final stages today, and I think by Monday we'll have most of the terms and conditions spelled out to a point where we can all agree to it. So I feel confident that we'll have a document, a final draft of that document, ready for the Selectmen's review next Wednesday.
Okay. Considering the limited time, how do we going to advertise? How do we get
The public.
enough quorum,
Well, right now, we told everybody, I mean, it says here August 8th is the meeting. It says alternate dates. But August 8th is the meeting. The alternate is if we don't get a quorum on the 8th.
Exactly.
So that is the date. We'd like everybody to show up, anybody that.
It would be August 8th at 7 o'clock at the Middle High School Auditorium.
And we'll be sending out something in the mail. to
Yes,
everybody.
there will be the mailing to all the households that gives the article language, and it will give good information about the TIF, what it is, a little bit of information about the company, and then we'll be making reference to the website where we'll have a lot of information available for whoever has additional questions. And in the meantime, if anyone has any questions about this whole concept, they should feel free to email me or give me a call.
And our next meeting would be,
Our next regular meeting is August 3rd. That's why I was hoping to have the special selectmen's meeting on the 27th.
so the 3rd, we can also have more
Yes.
information on it that night.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman.
yes.
One other question, do we know if that company will be available to answer any questions before town meeting? Like if somebody did have some questions, or would they be attending town meeting, the special town meeting as well, to do a presentation?
They
or-
will be doing a presentation at town meeting, but I'm sure if we had questions in advance of town meeting, that they'd be more than happy to work with us to get all those answers to people in advance.
If we can share that with the public, I think that's helpful to know that they will be at town meeting as well to help answer any questions
Yes.
and presentation. Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, I don't think we voted. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so August 8th, 2016, 7 PM at the Middle High School auditorium. And then the next one, review draft, we're going to pass over that, correct?
Yes. I'd hoped to have it ready tonight, but it just wasn't working as quickly.
Consider signing change order for sidewalk project.
I'd like to have Nancy describe that.
Sure, the change order before you is for the amount of $187.50. This will extend the granite curbing from the maintenance road that leads to the girls' softball field on Crescent Street to the entryway at Major Edwards. So what you will have is granite curbing, grass, the sidewalk that has been paved, grass, and then Pride Park. This is also recommended by the police chief. We've had an ongoing problem with people parking, pulling up on the grass, and hopefully the granite curbing will deter that.
Didn't the sidewalk project come in under budget anyhow?
Yes, we're in very good shape, and we're exploring our options. We have a little bit of money. I'm dealing with the woman at the state. She approved my rollover request of the money, because money in 15, 16, and 17. I'm hoping that we can do something around the library. I don't know if it can be approved yet, because our deadline for this project is the 9th of October, but if I can get a deadline extension from the state and work with PJ Albert, I think we might be able to do some improvements around the sidewalk around the library.
Are we talking the sidewalk on the Newton Street side or on the Central Street?
We're talking Central Street.
Okay.
And I'm pretty, when we have the money, I just have to get the clearance from the state that I can go beyond the deadline. And that's what we're working on now.
I just want to remind everybody, this is a state grant, so it's not costing taxpayers of West Boylston any money. So this is a win-win for everybody.
We received a grant for $995,000 under the Mass Works program.
We still have money, leftover money?
Yes.
So in that case, maybe we should consider on the Newton Street.
We're going to go out, the DPW director and I are going to go out tomorrow and look at it and see what we can come up with.
If it is, which side? Is it towards the resident side and this side? They were, last meeting, I was mentioning.
Right. I think for this, we'd be looking at right next to the library. It wouldn't be going across the street. It would be around the library.
Can they still park over there, people? People are parking on that road, right? Newton Street.
No, she's talking the other side, not the Newton Street side. Where we're gonna do the change order is
Central Street.
Central Street.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, I was asking about the question, Newton Street
Newton
side.
Street, yeah. That's not in the, right now, we're not looking
Right
at
now,
that because
that's
the
not.
cost may be.
Right now, we're going to concentrate on the sidewalk that's on the Central Street.
Central Street side.
There were a number of people who complained that it's very bumpy and it's hard for people who are handicapped in wheelchairs, and if we could, do something there, I think it's a win-win. We have the money, and hopefully we can get the project done.
If I recall, the Newton Street side around the library is, I believe it's new, on the Newton Street side. You're talking about the opposite side of the street. So I think that would make that whole circle all new. Because you're right, that side is very bad.
And we need to keep in mind that in a few years, we can reapply again, and maybe we get another grant and we just extend our project.
Something else, yeah.
Also, we could use the complete street policy if it is funded.
Yeah. So, I think we need a motion to sign the change order. So it's $28,001?
24,187.50.
28-1.
Yeah, what we have on the form here is $28,001. Is that different?
You have the form.
Let's see. Following cost breakdown for an additional 425 feet.
Right?
Yeah, this is it.
Yes.
That's $28,001.
Is that, it didn't change though. So it's the one that's in our package.
It's the one in your packet.
Yeah, so it's $28,001. Does anybody have it? Sure.
Yeah, I have one.
Yes,
if you want
20.
to.
Yes, exactly. There you have right
Now,
there.
what originally was gonna be there was just gonna be a new sidewalk and they could drive onto the grass. We're adding the nice curb and everything. Originally, that was in the plan. The change order is to add curb there, correct?
That was not in the plan.
The curb wasn't, but there was a
Correct.
sidewalk originally in the plan there, right?
I don't believe so.
Oh, it stopped there?
What you're going to have is you're going to have the sidewalks have all been done.
Sidewalks in there.
That was currently in the current plan. The add-on is just the curb and all
The
the
sidewalk's already in, but they're just gonna put the curb in.
curb, yeah, okay, right.
They're gonna put grass in between the curb
Yeah,
and the
that'll be-
sidewalk, I would assume,
That'll be
right?
nice,
Yes, okay, now I'm going back to, on the Crescent Street.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, in front of the school, correct.
There is, yeah, okay.
Yes.
Okay, so it's $28,001, that's the change order. Do I have a motion?
I make the motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay. I think the company that's been doing the work has been, every time, I mean,
Doing a great job.
you know, they're out there during the day, you come home, there's more sidewalks, so I think they're doing a great job. Consider accepting $88.90 in free will donations from the July 3rd concert on the Common on behalf of the town.
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Consider approving FISP invoice Cardinal for $13,325.
Make a motion to pay him. This is what we talked about at the FISP meeting, last FISP meeting.
I'll second. I'll second it.
Motion second. Any other discussion? So this is for the project manager for the police station.
Correct, this is the owner's project manager invoice. Correct.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, considering the following sewer abatements, we're gonna pass over those. Those were under our policy and they just
Correct.
were accidentally put on the agenda.
Right, so there was, once we confirmed that they actually were in compliance with the policy, that means there's no need for the sewer commission to take action on it.
So these were all people that fill their pools under our current policy. They
Correct.
call the water department, gone through the process. And
Correct.
that's okay. Okay, town administrators report. Any order you'd like? First thing was community video, 2016 community video.
If people can picture the town's main webpage, there is a link to a video about our town on the left-hand side of the page. And it was done a number of years ago, and it's out of date now. We've been contacted by the company that did that original video, and they'd like to offer to do that video again, an updated video for the town. Again, under the same conditions, it would be free for the town, and then they would seek sponsorship from various businesses from the community, and those businesses that provide some sponsorship would have little blurbs within that video as well. So it seemed like it was well received before. We'd like to do it again, but it would be a require action by the Board of Selectmen to approve the agreement that we have with the company that would do the video, again, at no cost to the town. We also have drafted a letter that would be mailed out to the businesses in town that would explain the video, how it works, because there may be some new businesses that were not in town at the time that the last video process was completed. So I would ask the board to consider approving the agreement with the firm of CGI Communications, and also to authorize the chair to sign the letter to the local businesses.
Okay, so that, I'm looking at, so the video sent to somewhere else off the website, and there's ads all around it. That will stay the same.
It would stay the same. It would be just the new video itself.
This was the video that had people water skiing on the
Yeah.
reservoir, right?
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I would ask that we get to see it, and I'm not sure, I wasn't here when the first one was done for approval, just so, like, that doesn't happen again.
I think, yeah, well, I
That's-
don't think they'll do that again, but I think we definitely will see
But
it.
we should see it.
We saw
bef-
this one.
We should have rights on, approving it before.
And I know last time, excuse me, Mr. King, last time, they had some issues with some of the vendors that they didn't think they'd get what they were supposed to get out of it. So I think we gotta make it clear to them to contact the vendors and give them an upfront cost, what they're gonna receive. But I know there was 3 or 4 people that had issues with what they got before.
Okay.
Okay, now I'm just, yeah, that's fine. I'm just looking at it. There were like 4 different videos. Will there still be?
It's one
There
main
was one on
video.
education, one on welcome to the town, quality of life and economic development.
We
Or
can-
is the plan that they're gonna?
They would be redoing all segments as one video available. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so, we need a motion to, do we need a motion to move
I
forward?
would urge that you make a motion to approve the agreement and authorize the chair to sign the agreement and the letter to the local businesses.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I do have a
Motion
question.
second, and more discussion?
I just have a question that, I want to make sure if they can't get the local businesses to buy into this, it's still going to be free for us.
It is,
Like
absolutely.
you said, Mr. Hadley, if some people weren't happy with the first one, I just want to make sure that we don't get stuck with a bill that we weren't thinking we were going to be
No,
having.
there is no minimum
Okay,
sponsorship requirement, so it would still be free to the town.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
You have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to update the board on the situation we had with the landfill testing. You may recall a meeting or two ago, I let you know that we had received communication from DEP that the last testing in 2015 showed that we had a higher level of a volatile organic compound in the 4 of the 6 wells that we have at our landfill site. And so I did meet with DEP on that, and they are going to be asking us to look to see what we can do to better identify the locations of where those exceedances are happening, and to put suggestions forward in terms of how we'd like to address that. I spoke to the testing company, our consultant who tests and analyzes this for us, and he has already been in communication with DEP. He's suggesting that what likely will be required of us is that we add probably 2 additional monitoring wells to the 6 that are already there, and then perhaps also increase the frequency of the testing that we do for those monitoring wells. Currently it's quarterly. They might require that we do it more frequently than that. He's putting together cost estimates of that, and he's going to be working with me and with DEP to determine the actual plan that we put into place. I just wanted to keep you updated on this because it will be, incurring additional costs that we hadn't anticipated when the FY17 budget was put together.
So how will that affect the lease with the, because they're going to be responsible for monitoring?
Right, so once we know what the costs are going to be, we're going to have to reach out to the Municipal Light Board because they didn't anticipate these additional costs. So that may be that we would have to come to some agreement with the Municipal Light Board in terms of they're taking on these additional costs, or it may be that, we would agree to split the cost of the additional testing with them, yet to be determined. So we really do need to know what the costs are going to be before we start to have that conversation with them.
And even in the future, if this happens, 3 years down the road, we need to have some kind of agreement with them now. So if a negative comes up 3 years from now, there's a solution we have.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, certainly this was not anticipated when the town began the
Right.
negotiation with the Light Board.
Absolutely.
I do have a question.
Yes, sir?
Is there any remedy for this? Nothing we can do?
It may not require us doing anything. That hasn't been determined yet. I think that the DEP is trying to get a sense of where this is coming from. Worst case scenario, the town might be required to do some sort of treatment within the micro wells that are there, meaning that we might be required to pull out the water, the underground water there within those test wells, and treat it and put it back into the to the ground as groundwater. But it's a little premature to even figure out what might be required of us.
And also, this seems to be the toxic chemicals. Is there a runoff from that landfill? Is it going to the neighbors surrounding?
No, luckily, part of what the additional test wells need to do is to identify where the actual flow of groundwater is taking place. We feel like we understand where the groundwater is going, meaning that it's going down the hill toward the reservoir. That's, from all testing that had been done in the past, that's what we feel is happening with groundwater flow. But because the town well is there uphill from the landfill site, we do need to determine if there is any migration of groundwater up toward the well site. So we need to definitely confirm that. And then we need to get a better handle in terms of where the flows are coming from within the landfill, because that may dictate what treatment, if any, we're required to do. So there's a lot of information we still have to pull together, and as I said, it's really premature to try to even anticipate what might be asked of us in terms of any treatment.
And how this will improve, if you have to do it more frequently?
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
So you have mentioned, we need to do the testing more frequently than now. How that going to affect? The chemicals are there.
What it will do is give us better data than we currently have, so that we can see if there's any increase or decrease in the levels that is happening over time, and give us, more timely information about what seasonal impacts there might be with the groundwater in that area. And so DEP, I feel, is, being very reasonable in this. They're giving us time to pull together a proper plan for better discerning the magnitude of the situation and putting together a plan to help us identify and deal with it. They're not demanding that we take immediate action. They understand that this is something that takes time to do. There are no sensitive receptors, meaning there are no private wells within the area of the known underground water flows. That's a good thing. Everyone who's in that area has a connection to the town water. So that's a good thing. So they're giving us time to really try to understand what's going on and what the appropriate process would be to take care of it.
Do we require to post any warning signs?
No, not at
On
this
that
time.
area?
No.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
So this won't affect when the lighting plant, when they go into the solar panel
No,
installation?
that was a question I had of DEP, and they said that there should be no impact with our being able to move ahead with the light plant installing the solar panels.
But they have to be cautious, right?
Say that again, I'm sorry?
They have to be cautious.
Well, they do anyways. I mean, this is a surface-mounted panel installation that they are proposing to do at our landfill. They are not supposed to be doing any penetrations into the landfill cap itself. So other than, normal routine caution during the construction of the panel combinations and facility, there shouldn't be any issue.
And we had those discussions when Mr. Hadley and I met with the lighting plant and municipal plant. They knew exactly what they were looking at because of that. So I feel that's definitely well understood at this point in time.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
The Complete Streets policy, we did receive confirmation from the state that our Complete Streets policy, which the board adopted in May, has been approved, which is great news. That means that we're now considered a Tier 2 community and that we can move ahead in applying for funds for the technical assistance in doing the prioritization plan, the road prioritization plan, which helps us identify roads that we should be working on sooner rather than later, and what road designs might be necessary for those roadways. So I've already reached out to CMRPC, our regional planning agency, to try to get some guidance from them regarding the application, and I'll be bringing additional information back to you when I have it.
Any questions on that? Thank you.
Okay. At several meetings ago, the board had expressed interest in establishing a pedestrian crosswalk at the intersection of Franklin and Route 12, where the new sidewalk ends on Franklin Street. So we did reach out to the police chief to check on that, and he is strongly suggesting that we not put a crosswalk in that area. He feels it would not be safe due to the volume and the speed of the traffic. So at this time, we won't be pursuing adding a crosswalk there on Route 12. Another update from the police.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you still on that issue or something?
No.
else? Oh, maybe, yeah, that's it. I'm
Have we
confused on that.
ever asked the state for a caution light? Yeah,
I'm not aware that the town has ever asked Mass DOT for a caution light.
maybe do something like that. I mean, that is probably the most dangerous intersection in the town besides Woodland and the street, so.
I guess, yeah, I mean, not that I would ever disagree with the police chief, but I'm just curious, we have, I think there's handicap ramps on both sides of that sidewalk. On Franklin Street, both sides, I believe there's handicap.
At the end of the new sidewalk there at Franklin Street, there is a handicap ramp there.
And across the street.
I believe the one across the street is actually at the Manor Restaurant side of the
Cross,
intersection.
yeah.
Right. There is currently no crosswalk actually painted on the roadway in that area.
Correct. So, I guess what would be, it would be more safe to have a crosswalk there than nothing when people are crossing.
The police chief was saying that by having a crosswalk there, it would encourage people to use a crosswalk when it's not the safest environment to have one.
So he doesn't want anybody crossing it.
So basically, they need to walk to the center of town or get to
They would have to go
Walmart.
to an area where it'd be safer intersection.
Okay, maybe I think the best thing, but I don't know if we could get it, is what Mr. Hadley brought up, a flashing light that will stop people, you know. That's fine.
Okay. The next update, also with the police chief, he had been asked to look into establishing signage on Route 12, 140, and other larger roadways, posting that Jake brakes were not allowed to be used in town. So he did reach out to Mass DOT, to Joe Frawley, one of their engineers, and Mr. Frawley did recommend that the town not put up such signage. He said that if there were ever to be an accident with a truck that said that if the driver were to say that he was in the accident because he was unable to safely stop without using his Jake brake, that would put liability on the town. So it was strongly recommended that we not install those signs in town. So at this point, we won't be moving ahead with anything at this time. And the police chief, as you saw in his last monthly report, he was able to procure some decibel meters for use with identifying noise issues with motorcycles. So that is at the station now, as had been requested by the board. Can also be used for other noise situations, enforcement issues if needed. And then there's a typo on my report, should be another bullet, item 7, and just wanted to let people know that the Worcester Regional Transit Authority is doing some new bus routes that will be in effect on August 27th. There's actually some new bus routes in Worcester and in connection with West Boylston and other area communities. So information about these new bus routes is on their website. So if anyone does use that public transportation, I would urge them to go to the WRTA website to check about the information on the changes for the bus routes. Most of them are dealing with pickup times and frequencies. And also the WRTA is looking for...
Can I just ask, is that something that we can add to our website for people?
We could try to put a link there.
Just to try and get the word out, because I do know people use it.
Okay, good. And I was just going to add that they're also looking for people to participate in their public satisfaction survey, and that can be found at a link on www.therta.com. So I'd encourage people who do use that public transportation to fill out their customer satisfaction survey. And that's it for the town administrator's report.
If I could just ask, did we get input from, unless I missed it, in regards to the Woodland Street project? Has the chief looked at that?
Yes, he did, and that's further down under old business, but I'll bring that up now if you prefer. We did ask the chief to look into it, and he says he concurs with the recommendations of Mass DOT.
So that's all set. Any questions for the town administrator? Okay. Next item is concurrence on the appointment of Jeffrey Gendry, 64 Rivington Drive, to the Parks Facility Committee effective July 23rd for a term to expire on April 30th, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
I understand that will, that's 5 residents, 2 selectmen, and 2 parks members. That would make that committee
That makes a full complement.
full committee, okay? We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Concurrence on the appointment of Richard Samorano as provisional PEG coordinator for a period of 6 months effective July 22nd, 2016, for a term to expire on January 20th, 2017, with a $2,400 stipend for the 6-month period.
I'll make a motion we approve. Rich, he does a great job for the town.
I'll second.
Here, a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Are we getting a permanent PEG coordinator, or
I-
are we going to get any other permanent PEG coordinator? Or he will be the PEG coordinator?
He will be the...
He would be the PEG coordinator.
Correct.
John Schlechte, who was our PEG coordinator, has stepped down. So we needed to put someone in there, and because Rich has not been acting in this position before, I want to have the ability to evaluate his effectiveness in the position, especially things we've made some modification to the job description. So I wanted to have a 6-month evaluation period. That's why I'm having it be a provisional 6-month period.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Concurrence of the appointment of Richard Semerano as PEG Equipment Coordinator, effective July 21st, 2016, for a term to expire July 20th, 2017, with a $3,000 stipend for this 1-year period.
And this is a new position. We have not had an equipment coordinator before, but this definitely has been a need of the PEG department, the cable group. We are going to be purchasing some new equipment for the department, and Rich has been our key equipment person right along. So knowing that we have this new, very expensive equipment coming in, we really do need to have somebody who is specifically identified as being responsible for the oversight of the purchase, the installation, the maintenance, the training on these new pieces of equipment.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to appoint Rich.
I have one quick question. How many hour job is this?
1 second. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion?
How many hour job is this?
It
In a week or
varies.
in a month?
It varies. I mean, it really depends. With the installation of the new equipment, it could be a very time-consuming job for the first month or so, and getting the training done of the different volunteers that need to use that equipment. But after that, it would be potentially just, an hour or two a week. Really depends on the equipment and how well it stands up.
Thank you.
Okay, and I'm sorry, go ahead.
What type of new equipment are we getting, just so the public knows, Anita, that this is what their money, just to give them an idea of what the money's going for?
Right. It really is the hub of the cable infrastructure network. So it means that it's what is used to do the live broadcasts of our meetings. It's what we do to record the meetings and allow them to be broadcast at later dates and times. It allows us to do the editing, flow the information over to the YouTube videos. It really is, it's the brain, so to speak, of all of the equipment that's being used.
Okay, thank
And
you.
also the calendar that's on the
Yes,
website.
yes.
It will be easier to run through that.
Yep.
This new program. So, and that money comes out of the money we get from Charter.
Exactly.
Right.
This is part of the annual revenues that we receive from Charter.
And that's the same with all the equipment that's being
Yes.
purchased. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, concurrence on the following planning board designee assignments. Affordable Housing and Transportation Committee, Mark Frieden. Community Preservation Committee and Earth Removal Board, Cheryl Carlson. Open Space Implementation Committee, Vincent Vignali. Economic Development Task Force and Townwide Planning Committee, Raj. Bylaw Committee, Chris Olson.
I'll make a motion, but I have a question.
Motion,
I'll second it.
second.
We're gonna have 3 selectmen on the economic development.
Isn't that?
Who's-
I don't currently know what the makeup is of the other members, I'm sorry.
Chris is on, I'm on it.
Yeah, so we wouldn't,
You can't do that.
that wouldn't be, we couldn't do that, I
No.
don't think.
I could talk to the planning board and we can switch it.
What do you mean?
Okay, so,
I make a motion, we approve everything except the economic development.
Okay, do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No. Okay, I think we can go back to, where is it? The candidates for Finance Committee.
Mr. Chairman, can we just, do you think it'd be better if we waited till Mr. Crowley was here, because Ms. Swanson cannot vote on either one. We're only gonna have 3 people to vote on it. Would you feel comfortable putting off?
I mean, I have no problem. We've done this before. Is Mr. Crowley going to be at the next meeting?
I'm not sure what his schedule is. We do have both of the candidates here tonight. I wasn't aware that there was going to be any interest in postponing the discussion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry.
I have to recuse myself, so.
Right, so,
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
it wouldn't be unusual to have 3 members, but any other discussion on that? I mean,
It's fine with me, you know. It's up to the chair.
I mean, it's not. I mean, if there was a motion made, I mean, I think that's up to you. I mean, I don't think it's unusual for 3 or 4 to be here to vote on an appointment. So, I guess hearing no motion, I think we're moving forward. So you're gonna... are you
I'm
gonna
recusing myself, yep. Do you want me to go sit in the audience?
That would be better.
Okay, the first candidate can come forward, Mr. Bonson, and just tell us why you want to be on Finance Committee again.
Again.
I believe you were on it in the past, yeah?
Yes. I served a good number of years on the Finance Committee in the past. Due to work commitments and travel for work, I was kind of forced to give it up when my last term expired. I'm now retired, have plenty of time, and would look forward to, again, serving the town in that capacity.
Any questions?
How many years were you on it before?
I was trying to remember. I'm not sure if it was 5 or 7.
Any other questions for Mr. Bonson?
I have a question, is there any conflict of interest since you being a finance and we have a selectman on the board?
I don't believe there is. As you know, our Finance Committee is strictly advisory for the town. We get to make recommendations at town meeting, we get to make recommendations, but there is no authority for the Finance Committee to do anything above and beyond that, so I don't see how there could be a conflict.
Great. Any other questions? No. Okay, you can step back and Jamie DeSanti, you step forward and
How you doing?
and you can just tell us your interest in being on the committee.
I'm a lifelong resident. I'm going to school for accounting and economics, and I would love to be able to, be a bigger part of the town. I would love to learn all about the finance world, because that's really what I'm looking forward to doing in my future after I graduate. And I think this would be a great place to start, and I think I could learn a lot from doing this.
Okay, any questions?
Do you have any experience in your classes and stuff like that in financing? Is that what you've been taking?
Yes, those are the classes that I've been taking. Also, mostly economics and accounting, but I'm starting to get into some more financial classes as well.
I assume you are going to college, right?
Yes.
So do you think you can put time in here? It does takes up a considerable
absolutely.
time and energy.
Yes, absolutely. I think I could handle it very well, multitasking school and being on the financial committee. And I think it would even help me in school, to be honest.
Now, what year are you in college?
I'm going to be a junior.
And there's one open seat, correct, on the
Correct.
Finance Committee? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I guess take nominations or just motion,
Can accept nominations.
or any other discussion?
Any other discussion? I would make a nomination.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Can I just speak a minute? And again, I just wanted to take time. Chris Bergman, Goodale Street, I just wanted to say, as the chair of the Finance Committee, I'm really encouraged by the fact that we have two very strong candidates for the position and to fill the board, which I think is sometimes a challenge. And I think that I really encourage everybody who's listening to really, make a commitment to the town as these candidates have. I just wanted to say, again, looking forward to a full committee. I've worked with Mr. Bonson in the past on the Finance Committee, and I just wanted to say that I think he's, I certainly support his appointment because he does bring a vast amount of business experience to the seat. I think he can really hit the ground running on a committee. He's proven that in the past. I know I served with him in the past. And I think that would be a great value to us and on the Finance Committee to have somebody hit the ground running. I really am encouraged by Mr. DeCente's candidacy as well, and I wish I had two positions. I wish there were two positions. Make it a lot easier. But again, I really endorse Mr. Bonson for that position. I really does take that time. Thanks.
Okay, any other questions or concerns with that?
No.
Any motions or?
Make a motion to appoint Mr. Bonson.
Do I hear a second?
A second.
Okay, any other, I guess, so we need to vote on that motion. Okay, any discussion on that motion?
I think, we do need to give a chance for the youngster since Mr. Bonson was already served in the board. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I would say, I would love to have Mr. DeCente, as you just said, I'd love to see two seats. And I think it'd be great for him and more important for the town to get younger people involved, because as we all move on, we're going to need people like Mr. DeCente to come forward. So I would encourage him to, after we have the vote here, I would encourage him to look at the openings in the future.
Is there an alternate position on that board?
There is not.
There's not.
I mean, is the Finance Committee set, can it be changed? Can the committee be changed to have an alternate? Or is it set by charter?
I believe it's bylaw.
Bylaws.
By
It's the
bylaw?
bylaw.
It's the
Right. So
bylaw
it could be
of the
changed
town.
in the future.
Right now, there's how many members, Mr.?
9.
There's 9 members. And do you all, not that I'm asking, are all the 9 members active?
Yeah, I mean, it's, again, I think everybody has their schedule and challenges. But
There's no question with 9 people, but
I would certainly welcome, an alternate. I think that would be a great asset to the committee.
Right.
Fill in the event that there are, because we do have, at times, we are challenged to get quorums. So that would be a great way if there was a way that the bylaws committee could adopt or enact, a bylaw to provide for that alternate to come in and sit as a voting member in the event that there's a quorum.
right, and then that'll help that person learn
Absolutely.
what goes on in the Finance Committee. Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? No. Okay, thank you, Mr. Bonson. Mr. DeCente, thank you very much for coming forward. We will look into possibly changing the bylaw to have an alternate member. I mean, at least I would ask to look into that, and we can talk to the Finance Committee about that. If that happens, maybe we can notify you, but we'll also post that there'll be another position. Not to mention if someone,
If we do have a break, we mentioned them.
yeah, so if someone moves on, we'll be looking for you.
I'd like to say, though, that even though you weren't appointed to the opening for Finance Committee, it is a public meeting, and certainly I'm sure they would welcome your attendance at their meeting, so that might help you in your studies as you move ahead. And if we are able to create another position of alternate, then by having attended the meetings in the past, it would put you in a prime consideration for that alternate position when created. You're welcome.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, no, you already did other business, meeting invitations.
Where are we?
Meeting invitations.
That's all we have, right? That's all we're at? Okay, meeting and invitations. I have Eversource update. We were gonna try to get what that exactly meant.
Yes, so we did receive an email from Eversource, from their community relations person, saying that there was going to be some updating of the gas mains in Worcester, Shrewsbury, and West Boylston. And the road that's involved in West Boylston is Worcester Street. They did say that for those areas affected, they would be sending letters out to the residents involved in the sections of roadway. But we haven't received any letters yet. So I did try to get some feedback from Eversource to find out what dates they were anticipating this work would happen, and they haven't gotten back to me yet. So we will provide another update in terms of when that project is actually going to take place. But at least the residents living along Worcester Street, if your area will be impacted, you will be receiving a letter from Eversource regarding that. So that'll be an opportunity for you to ask questions of them in terms of how it will impact access along Worcester Street.
Yeah, because the news release we have just basically says that Worcester Street, there'll be work. An $8.5 million project, so. Once we get more information,
I'll keep bringing updates along.
Okay. And then next, the town received $13,810 in MIIA rewards, our second highest total since beginning as a member in 2008. Previous high was $13,861 in 2012. That's great.
Mr. Chair, I just want to say that it's because of Nancy Lucier that we're getting this fantastic rewards rating from Maya. Nancy has been the key driver of this program for years now, and we certainly would not be getting this level of rewards from Maya if she wasn't there encouraging people to take advantage of the training and all of the other loss control measures that we're doing if it hadn't been for her encouragement.
Yes, and they offer great programs. I think it's going to get to the point where they're going to pay us to insure with them. I mean, so.
It's a great program. We never could afford to
do all the things.
To provide all the training. And, the simulator training, they came in and they trained police, fire, and DPW. It's a great program. I'm thrilled that we're a part of it.
Right. Maybe we can put a list together and just tell the folks over the years all the things that we got through this program. Maybe we can bring it up in a future
Because every year we've been very fortunate. We've applied for their $5,000 grants. We've gotten a grant every year.
Right.
Maybe we could do that.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions on that? Next is October 2nd, 2016, 4 p.m. on 2 Main Street, Worcester. There'll be a reenactment of the Worcester County Revolution of 1774. And then also, that's not on the agenda, is charter communication effective on or after August 2nd. The following new channels will be added temporary to the charter expanded tier of programming during the upcoming Summer Olympic Games to cover the overflow programming of these popular events. The channels will be NBC Olympics Basketball 394 and NBC Olympic Soccer 395. I don't have anybody else have any other invitations or announcements? Okay, next item is future agenda items and selectmen reports. Anybody have anything? Yep.
I just want to say that Anita got the townwide planning committee back up and running, and we've had our first meeting, and that's going forward, so thank you very much for getting that up and running, and we'll have more information to follow. I think we met a couple of weeks ago.
June 28th, and our next meeting is next Tuesday, July 26th.
So I just want the people to know that things are getting back and running into getting some attention, so thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, the only thing I'd like to, maybe if we can look into, I know we've talked about it when we remodeled the building, is a projector on the ceiling here that we can easily show computer I know Nancy and I have talked about it, maybe we can put some prices together. But I think the times that we use it, setting it up for the FISC meetings and things, it'll be a lot easier to have something. So maybe if we can look at putting a price together for that.
Mr. Chairman, I just have one other
Yep.
thing that I forgot. Could we, I've heard from many residents, they love the new sidewalks, but down near the lower end of Goodale, near the softball field, it looks like we have squash growing up against the new sidewalk. I've also heard in front of our nice new town common, our sign, our nice new sign, it seems like our people haven't really paid attention, and I understand that there's a drought. So people are really starting to notice, and I have had 3 or 4 calls about the way the town common looks in some of those areas. So if our people, I know the DPW director is new, but it's becoming a real eyesore, and seriously down near the school and stuff, there definitely looks like it's, all the weed whacker would take care of it. But we need to do something.
Yeah, and I did speak to the DPW director about that, and you'll notice that they're already starting to, basically it's a case of having to cut the weeds to allow the young grass to be able to start growing through. And so you'll notice that today he actually had the crew out doing it around our area, and they'll continue to do it along all the sidewalks.
And over near the gazebo, it's really, it seems like they've waited an extra long time to do something over there as well. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, if hearing nothing else, I would entertain a motion to go in executive session.
I move to enter into executive session under the provisions of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, Parts 2 and 3, to discuss strategy with respect to the collaborative bargaining, negotiation with non-union personnel, and strategy with respect to litigation, DPW negotiations, fire chief contract, and concerned citizens of West Boylston versus ZBA.
Second.
There a motion and a second, roll call?
Mr. Rajesh Kumar?
Aye.
Mr. Hadley?
Yes.
Mr. Rucho?
Yes,
Ms. Bonson?
Yes.
and we will not come back into open session.
Correct.
Thank you very much. Have a nice night.
Hey, Chris.